For today's video, we're gonna travel back to the Stone Age and hunt the Snorkasaurus. So, alright, let's go. Alright, so everyone is planning their holiday vacations. Barney and Betty are gonna be going to the mountains, and Fred and Wilma are gonna be going to the beach. You know, which sounds pretty wonderful, but it totally perturbs Fred, man, because they go to the same beach every single freaking year. He just wants a complete change of scenery. It's like he hates sand as much as Anakin Skywalker does. It gets everywhere, you know? So Fred comes up with a plan. Based on the high prices of ribs at the grocery store, Fred figures both couples can combine their vacations into one bigger hunting/camping vacation. They'll save a ton of money because they can just hunt for their own food, and they'll be getting back to their caveman roots of, you know, cooking food on an open fire, you know, so that's pretty hip. To which everybody agrees. And after a whole bunch of highway mishaps and traffic tickets, they finally get to their campsite, where Barney destroys the car and trailer because for some dumb reason, he's chopping down the biggest tree he can find in order to make firewood. I guess twigs and branches haven't been invented yet, so you know, he has to do what he has to do. But in order to make amends for that, Barney decides to go fishing. Or as it turns out, the fish go Barneying. And it's pretty much a real-life struggle to the death, you know? The battle of the wills, but hey, Barney comes out on top and everyone's having some pretty good eats for supper. Which is really good, because it really shows their hunting capabilities. And so, the next morning, the big hunt begins. Fred informs Barney that they will be hunting for the Snorkasaurus, a creature which Barney has never seen or has actually never even heard of. So, like, you really couldn't ask for a better hunting partner than that, eh? And so after a quick lesson of Fred showing Barney how to beat a animal to death with some clubs, the game is afoot. The hunt for the Snorkasaurus begins. And this Snorkasaurus, man, he ain't no dummy. He knows what's going on. He's played this game before, right? He's been through this hunting routine, and he will show that he is quite a formidable foe. And really, man, the Snorkasaurus, like, wastes no time in giving the usual ridicule to these next batch of hunters, right? He gives them the whole razzle and dazzle. He lets Fred and Barney think that they're in charge, and then boom! Turns the tables! Makes them question their existence! You know, fight fire with psychology, I always say. The Snorkasaurus starts interrogating Fred and Barney on whether they have a hunting license or not, right? To which, no, they do not actually have a hunting license, which is quite illegal. And so yeah, man, the Snorkasaurus calls them poachers, and he really has a good point, right? But it doesn't stop Fred. He still goes after this gorgeous beast. So as Snorkasaurus is running away, he finds cover in Wilma and Betty's tent, to which they are initially terrified, but the Snorkasaurus, like, absolutely charms the hell out of them. Turns out the dude's a total smooth talking player, and so wooed are Wilma and Betty that they decide that they want to help the Snorkasaurus out. Like, he can't be hunted, he's too wonderful. Like, man, what a diabolical genius this dinosaur is, eh? And just like that, boom! The hunting is over! The wives will not stand for it. But man, the Snorkasaurus keeps on winning! Not only did Betty and Wilma agree that the Snorkasaurus should not be hunted, but Wilma also agrees to take the Snorkasaurus home as a pet. So now the Snorkasaurus is at home in Fred and Wilma's house. He's cleaning, he's ironing, he's answering the phone, and they even give him a name of Dino. Man, like, what a sweet deal, right? Like, this guy goes from being almost dinner to getting free room and board and all of his meals paid for. Like, that is an absolute masterclass in counter hunting. Like, what a guy. But yeah, man. With that, that is the end of this fantastic tale. That was a great episode, man. And holy jeez, man, did this episode ever throw me back to the times when I was a kid and we were going camping in our trailer, like, back in the day, man. Memories. And because I watched a lot of Flintstones growing up too, I guess. And this episode, it is fantastic! This is probably one of my most favorite Flintstones episodes, like in the top 5 at least, if not in the top 3. And the reason I love it so much is because of the Snorkasaurus. Man, such a zany character, you know? This episode is kind of like a homage to Looney Tunes. More specifically about Elmer Fudd hunting Bugs Bunny. Except in this case, you have 2 Elmer Fudds hunting 1 Bugs Bunny. Maybe not as zany as Bugs Bunny cartoons can get, man, but it's still pretty wild in its own right. And like I say, man, the Snorkasaurus, man, the dude's hilarious. And speaking of Snorkasaurus, right, he's supposed to be Dino in the Flintstones universe, which I'll get into a bit more later, and how it makes no sense. Because continuity, what's that, right? Especially in this episode when the Snorkasaurus himself defines the Snorkasaurus of having that majestic sound. Snork, snork, snork. You know, I ain't never heard Dino go snork snork ever in my life. You know, Dino, he just go yeah, or something more sane. But you know what I mean, right? And if this is supposed to be Dino, like what the hell happened to him going forward? Did he get a lobotomy? Did he have a massive head contusion or something? Like what the hell, right? Concerning indeed. But what is not concerning is how awesome this episode is, so if you haven't taken a gander at it, I would suggest you do it. And we shall have more words this way. So yeah man, Dino the dinosaur. So in the Flintstones world, he made his first appearance in season 1, episode 4, in an episode entitled No Help Wanted. And in that episode, man, he is a dog like through and through, right? You know, bark bark and all that stuff, right? And then 12 episodes later, we have our featured episode, which is basically a prequel episode of how the Flintstones got their dog, which is not unusual in cartoons, right? Usually you will get to the storytelling to learn the characters and then you'll have an origin story. That part is fine. It's just, man, this is a completely different character, you know? Like this Snorkasaurus, he is intelligent, he's cultured, he's speaking a human language, he's ironing, you know, all that stuff. And then next time you see him, he's just a dog. A wonderful, adorable dog, don't get me wrong, you know? But still, why is it such a completely different character? It's one of those mysteries in life, I guess. Why would they introduce a character as one way, show an origin story of him as something completely different, and then just revert him back to the way he was kind of moving forward? It pains the head. The theory that I like to believe is that the Snorkasaurus yearned for the call of the wild again, and he left the Flintstone home and went back to the forest. Fred and Wilma really missed him, so they got a new Snorkasaurus, which was more of the dog variety, you know, and named him Dino and kind of treated him the same. Which could be true, you know, if you consider that the Snorkasaurus is more purple in color, and Dino the dinosaur has more of a pink kind of color to his fur, or hide, however you want to put it. So mayhaps indeed these are 2 different Snorkasauruses. Even though Dino the dog is not portrayed as intelligent as the Snorkasaurus is, you know, he's still a pretty smart dog. He can do a lot of tricks, and even though he doesn't speak human, you know, he can still express himself in many ways, right? Still a great character, and actually based on another great character. The producers of the Flintstones are really big fans of a classic actor named Phil Silvers, who's most known for the character Sergeant Bilko. And so the Flintstones producers were like, you know what, we need to get a character like that on the show somehow. How are we gonna do it? Well, they'll do it with the Snorkasaurus and Snork. And so they did. If you watch any video clips of Sergeant Bilko, you can definitely see the homage that the Snorkasaurus gave. And like realistically, man, if we're talking like dinosaurs and, you know, reality or what we know of prehistory, the closest known real dinosaur to the Snorkasaurus would be the Plateosaurus. Take a look at that thing, man. That's pretty much Dino, just more terrifying, you know? Even more terrifying is what Fred and Barney would look like. You know what, if you had those two hunting the Snorkasaurus, I would absolutely watch that show. You know, like a real life version
of the Flintstones as close to prehistory as we know it? Like, man, that'd be pretty cool. In a terrifying Jurassic Park kind of a way, you know, but still, man. But yeah, I don't got much for you. That's pretty much all I have. Snorkasaurus is amazing. I wish they had more of him. I would rather see the Snorkasaurus than the Great Gazoo, but that's just me. But, yeah, man, so with this, that, those, and the other things, I guess, that's that. Right on, and there you go. So thanks for watching the video. I hope you liked it as much as I did making it. Also, feel free to check out the source material that I featured in this video. And if you want to leave a comment on anything you may have liked or things I might have missed in this, you know, feel free to do so. Or anything else, you know, just to say hi. That's cool too. And other than that, you know, have a great day. Thanks.